I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
I feel like we should just devote the entire episode to petitioning for the expansion of Vegas League playoffs, Summer League playoffs. 4-0. The Timberwolves go 4-0 with, I think, an average margin of almost, it was like 9.5 point margin of victory. But because they only take 4 teams into the actual playoff bracket of NBA Summer League, and there were 4 other teams above them that were 4-0 with better point differentials, the Timberwolves have to play a consolation game on Saturday against the Rockets.
That's a bad beat, and I write that down because I had to write that down. The Timberwolves would win Summer League.
And I copied we're both in the same boat there.
Bad beats.
I would not even get a chance.
I've been the only positive Rob Dillingham guy. I said he was going to drop at least 20 on Wednesday, and he drops 23. So I don't know all these questions about Rob on this show. I've only been praising him. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we'll get to some. We'll basically put a bow on the bulk of Summer League. But Dex, what's the first drink you're going to have before that consolation Summer League farewell for the Timberwolves this weekend?
That would be my friends at Z Biotics. Look at this little guy, just little vial, little guy here.
Brought 2 of those to Vegas 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
Game changer for the Mackeys.
I did it over 4th of July weekend when I knew I was going to have a lot of fun. I woke up July 5th feeling great from my friends at Z Biotics, which is the first, their pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for those rough days after drinking. And pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this product. So just remember to make pre-alcohol from our friends at Z Biotics your first drink. And right now you can go to zbiotics.com/howls. You can get 15% off your first order when you use Howls at checkout. It's also in the comment section below. Z Biotics is also backed with a 100% money guarantee. So if you don't like it, if you're unsatisfied, they'll refund your money. zbiotics.com/howls.
All right, boys. So we got the 4 games. We're going to get the consolation game. We'll see who winds up playing. I guess I'd be a little shocked if TJ Shannon played. Maybe they'll finish strong with their full lineup. But in these 4 games, you got a ton of Dillingham, TJ Shannon, big look at Jalen Clark again, Beringer. TJ Shannon, one of the best players in Summer League. I think it's fair to say that over the week-long slate of games. Dillingham was put in a bunch of different situations, strategically primary ball handler, off ball, 3-point shooting, scoring in traffic amongst the trees, pick and rolls. They put him in pretty much every possible scenario. I thought he progressively got better over the 4 games and just sharper decision-making, better chemistry with teammates. And then Beringer looks more NBA ready than I certainly thought going into Summer League. But do you guys feel like the Wolves got what they needed out of Summer League, even without this consolation game on Saturday?
I'm so devastated right now. Yes, I feel like they did, and I feel like Chris Finch did. They also sort of, and they don't care about this, but they also, to what you're saying, showed us a lot of things. Beringer, I didn't expect this. I didn't know what to expect. But I didn't expect this. This looks like a guy, 4 years of basketball. It looks like he's been playing for 15 years. And I think to say that you weren't impressed by that, I think is absolutely asinine. It was incredibly impressive. On Dillingham, I think it's still a work in progress. You did see some things. You also saw some things you don't love. On Shannon, it just solidifies that he is set to go. And quite frankly, my opinion of Jalen Clark doesn't change because what he does well, he does extremely well. But I would say of the teams that were probing to find out more about their actual NBA team, because there's some teams that are just trying to get a look at guys to take to camp and stuff, or their draft picks. But for the teams that were hoping to get a good look at what they wanted from their NBA players, I would say the Wolves are champions there. You take your playoff format and bleep off. So, yes, the answer to your question is absolutely positively, with Dillingham still being, to me, the biggest question mark.
Yeah, TJ obviously was the best player on the court, and that's great. I think he's definitely already in the hierarchy for being a legitimate rotation player for the Wolves. And then with Rob and Beringer probably going to Iowa to start, The latter being Beringer going to Iowa to start. I just wonder how everyone else kind of fits into the plans. We keep wondering, are they going to maybe find one more veteran point guard here? Are they going to roll with Connelly and Dillingham, or just a collection of what they have in-house? It feels more likely that route instead of going to find like a Brogdon or finding someone else. It could still happen, and I guess we can never rule out Tim Connelly throwing down some crazy trade between now and the start of the season. So can't say it's impossible for that to happen, but it's good to see them that they're drafting their players, they're cultivating their guys, and they're making legitimate impacts. And I mean, the Thunder, look at what the Thunder have done, man. I mean, obviously they get Shea, but they have drafted a lot of good guys, and the more super teams that are now being phased out and drafting and building up players through your own internal draft, I think is maybe now the new NBA model, and the Timberwolves look like they have some studs here that they have drafted and developed.
Yeah, they could come out of this thing losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but getting deeper and just having more options to call on at the end. I don't think it's going to be like the first game of the season and it's a fully honed rotation, but you could actually wind up, if Chris Finch commits to the 9 or 10 man rotation and the young guys do develop and they remain on schedule. I would say, like, other than TJ Shannon doing exactly what you wanted as a 25-year-old, just go dominate Summer League, and he did. Awesome. Okay, cool. You get 20 minutes a night you have completed this mission, and now you have earned a spot in the rotation. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I had said right before Summer League started was not to put too much emphasis on these 4 games with less than NBA competition. But I'd love to see Dillingham leave no doubt at the end where you said, okay, he's not perfect. He's 20. He's not a finished product. There's a bunch of things to hone, but you feel comfortable putting him in regularly for 12, 15, 20 minutes a night. And I would say after 4 games, the playmaking, tons of great flashes there. The ball handling, the ability to get by the first defender and get open looks for teammates, he gets to the rim and converts really well for a 6'1" player. The shot is a little inconsistent. They're still working on mechanics there, but overall, I feel comfortable giving that dude rotation minutes starting first game of the season based on what we saw in Vegas.
I think you have to. And if you don't, this goes back to the discussion of should they go out and make a trade or sign a guy, more likely probably. But yeah, I think and the thing with Dillingham is, it was unfair to expect that you would see like a finished product suddenly. Like what TJ Shannon did is impressive, but from a point guard standpoint, that's more difficult. So as far as Dillingham goes, I think what you saw is hopefully some progress. Like that's the most important thing. But that is the most, in my opinion, going into training camp and the regular season, that becomes the key decision, right? The key decision is, do we trust him? Does Chris Finch trust him enough to play substantial minutes per night? If you don't, what's the solution? Ideally, though, you also get him enough time where he doesn't become a drain or a detriment, but, he's a top 10 draft pick so that he is playing enough, because he's not going to improve unless he actually plays in games, too. Like that's the thing is, and he got a lot of, I'm sure, valuable behind-the-scenes practice experience last year. But at some point in time, you actually have to be allowed to make the mistakes in the games if you're going to fix those. And that's the tightrope the Wolves are walking, because there's expectations there, but there also are expectations that this kid should be able to play on a regular basis at some point very soon.
Yeah, he created a ton of great open looks for teammates, and we never really mentioned like his assist totals throughout the summer league because they're so dependent on fringe NBA players making those shots. Like Leonard Miller clanked a bunch of open threes that the reason why he was wide open is because of Rob Dillingham getting by a defender, getting into the lane, help comes over, boom, he made the right pass a lot over these 4 games.
Sure.
And they just they need guys who can initiate, either get their own offense or create more open looks for others, so that entire burden doesn't fall entirely on Anthony Edwards and to some extent Julius Randle. So
right.
So we'll see if they run any of these guys out on Saturday against the Rockets in the consolation game, or if they just say, listen, we saw enough. No need to risk anyone's limbs, their knees, their Achilles, or whatever it is. Let's call it a good summer. TJ Nightshade on the Flagrant Howls YouTube channel comment section to turn this into a Feedback Friday here. By the way, thank you guys. You got us to 1,000 subscribers in the first 6 weeks of the new Flagrant Howls YouTube channel. So pretty awesome response from the Flagrant Howls community of Wolves fans. If you haven't already, click that like button and the subscribe button. And then on the audio side for the Spotify Apple audience, you can also help us by giving us a 5-star rating and a positive review. But the nicknames are already flowing in here. So TJ Nightshade says, calling it now. Dillingham to Beringer lobs are now called Air France.
Oh.
Air France?
Air France.
I think like anytime Beringer like leaps off the ground and throws something down, regardless of who gets him the ball.
Air
I
France.
like the Air France.
Is that the official airline of France? Because there's like Air Lingus, I believe, is the Ireland one. Air France. Yes, it is. Okay.
It's like the big one.
I like
it. It looks like it's their big airline, Air France.
Okay.
I'm 100% here for that discussion, and I like that one.
Yeah. Neil Baker remains a little skeptical of Rob Dillingham. I can sense there's no sarcasm font in the comment section, but if there was, you could apply it to this one. Neil says Dillingham is right on track to be a legit point guard with a contending team in 2 seasons from now. This is great news.
Wow. Well, you know what though? That's what they have to find out. Like that. That's what this is all about. Like you have to find out what. And I also think so. I expect him to play more. I mean, he's a high draft pick, so I expect a lot here. But like, this is what the process is, right? Like, is he going to be is he going to be in 2025, 26 the finished product that he potentially could be in 2 years? Right now, probably not. But does he make progress? Can he play? Like, as we discussed with Doogie on Thursday, Mike Conley's coming back. Mike Conley's going to play some. Mm-hmm. Now, ideally, you pull back on how much Mike Conley has to play. But, like, this is a process. And what Dillingham is doing, I mean, he's playing a position that's a tough spot. So,
yeah,
I think we need to temper if you think he's going to come out on opening night and just be like, okay, this is a different play. Like, this is unbelievable. That's not how this sort of works.
Right, but another thing to add to this. So, Neil, appreciate your comment and your cynicism. All right, but to make it seem like this is a failed situation if Dillingham doesn't pop immediately as like the best version of what he will be in 5 years is an unrealistic expectation of a draft that's mostly corralling 19 and 20-year-old kids into teams. So, sure. If you bring him in. So let's take the sarcasm comment here at face value. So he's right on track to be a legit point guard with a contending team in 2 seasons from now. Well, this may suck to hear for Timberwolves fans, but Anthony Edwards won't be his full peak version for 2 or maybe 3 seasons from now. He's 23. Anthony Edwards is 23. So if Dillingham in 2 years is this awesome starting point guard, it aligns with Anthony Edwards reaching his peak version while still under contract for like 2 or 3 more years off the max contract he signed. Not every move you make in free agency, via trade, and certainly via the draft is meant to give you a championship caliber player in that exact season. Like Rob Dillingham was drafted to maybe become a full version of himself, merging on the freeway with Anthony Edwards speeding into his prime.
Right. Progress is the most important thing.
So, like, I look at this comment, and okay, you're being cynical, but if you flip it and take it seriously and say Rob Dillingham, if he progresses, is going to be awesome and worthy of being a championship caliber number 1 in 2 seasons from now, I would say, cool. Then everyone should just be patient. It doesn't mean they're going to be awful the next 2 years. They've gone to the Western Conference Finals with Mike Conley and very little behind him in terms of like viable backup point guard options.
Right.
So.
But our patience is nil. I mean, that's the thing is we don't have patience for progress. See, there's a difference between, okay, you're going to progress and continue on an uphill climb that's going to be successful versus you're a bust and you suck. Because a lot of times, I mean, go to the Vikings. Dallas Turner, he's a bust. He's terrible. Well, he played 1 year and you really don't know that at all yet. Mm-hmm. But I also forgive Wolves fans. I think Wolves fans get a lot of grace from me here because they're not used to draft picks necessarily always developing as planned.
Sure.
So
there's
I
some
think that
there's some PTSD.
Yeah,
100%.
I think the cynicism is justified in the history.
Yeah, but when you're an undersized, diminutive, 6'1", well under 200-pound NBA player, and Dillingham is maybe $175, maybe. You're not going to just hit the ground as this elite player when you're 20 years old. So there's a balance here of it is fair to critique certain things with Dillingham, and we've done that. And there's a certain group of Dillingham defenders out there that just they hate any sort of negative critique or factual observation. So I think it's fair to point out this, and this, the size, some of the sloppy passes, whatever. But also give him room over Darius Garland is a 6'1" diminutive player, right? He came in 20 years old, Cleveland, barely shot 40% from the field. Now that was a bad team, so they actually gave him 30 minutes a game to work it out. But he was an inefficient 12 points a game guy that was getting lost in the trees. Well, then you fast forward to age 24, 25. He's figured out a way to shoot 47% and average 20 points a game for 4 straight seasons. So especially for smaller players, it takes a couple years. So that's the balance I'm trying to I'm going to point out the things that don't look right, but also leave some space for him to grow into a fuller version of Dillingham the next 2 or 3 years.
If he's not a star, he sucks.
He's a bust.
I'm just
Get
done
his
with
ass out of here. Fire Tim Connelly.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Farlow says, funny how amazed and at times bewildered you guys are with Beranger's great play. Oh, he's so amazing. He's only a lowly soccer player who just started playing basketball. How could that be? Well, let me remind you, or in case you weren't aware, inform you that some of the greatest NBA players of all time were soccer players first, which helps explain their great footwork, balance, and spacing. And he has a list. A few of these are very notable, like Steve Nash, definite. Everyone knows he's a soccer player. Kobe Bryant, who grew up all over the world, played soccer. But Hakeem Olajuwon, apparently was a 7-foot soccer player.
Yep, I remember
back in the day.
That was a big story at the time.
Giannis, Embiid, Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Kerr, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. It would have been nice if you guys stepped outside your pompous comfort zone of these so-called 4 major sports once in a while and devoted a segment here and there.
He's mad about soccer.
Here's what it is. Here's what it is.
We got it.
He says, it'd be nice if you devoted some time to our loons and the world's most popular sport these dud days of summer when you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel in hopes of finding something semi-interesting to discuss.
This is genius.
Farlow!
Okay, Farlow, this is you brilliantly, because I think I've seen notes from him before that just say, hey, we've got a pro soccer team here. Why don't you talk about it?
Farlow, why do you want us talking about soccer? There's plenty of places you can get your soccer content. We're gonna spew nonsense like we do on all the other shows, pretty much, about your favorite sport. We're gonna disrespect it.
First of all, I've got takes for days. I mean, the Loons, this defensive style does not work. It bores me. I mean, I need more from the Loons. I need more exciting. But that's genius that he found a way to get with a good point. He found a way to
there.
That is good. That is smart. You're angry at us. You might be seething right now, but kudos and bravo on the way that you got that note read.
I got flack yesterday for saying I can't believe Dex isn't like tennis. Let me be clear. I respect the hell out of tennis athletes. It's just I have a PTSD from it from an old job that makes me not like the sport. And same with in soccer, dude. There's some of the best athletes in the world that play soccer. I have a ton of respect for that. But yes, I do love the note of and the lashing out. The lashing out, I think, was my favorite part there at the end.
Farlow used Joan Beringer and a bunch of Hall of Fame basketball players who played soccer as a great point and great anecdote as a surrogate to get his "we need more Minnesota United" conversation talk on Score North. But yeah, I mean, you watch him play and his footwork. He's a very graceful 7-footer, and he's definitely. He's athletic. You can tell he's played more than just basketball the last 4 years.
But he looks way more basketball polished. And he's only played basketball for 4 years. That's what got me. If he had grown up playing soccer and basketball, we wouldn't even talk about this. In fact, we wouldn't even mention soccer at all. But the fact that he has played basketball for 4 years and looks like this. And might I suggest that the very capable AJ Fredrickson, our guy on JHS as well, is a huge soccer fan. And I found out on the boat a couple days ago, he also told a story about he played high school tennis. He played doubles. He's a big tennis fan. So I'm pitching a sports Mackey and Judd and Declan don't talk about podcast for AJ.
And AJ can just be solo and talk about
Sure,
tennis.
he can just talk
to himself.
He played doubles. Who understands that? I don't understand doubles.
I talk baseball to myself on the Twin Show. I mean, come on, that's certifiable. I mean, I'm just talking to a microphone there with myself for 20 minutes talking about MLB prospects. You think that's weird? I mean, come on.
Is it Archangel? Archangel, 19. Phil looks like one of those dudes who uses both hands to shoot a basketball. Yeah, that's probably. We could do another shooting challenge. Judd did the shooting challenge.
I'm not throwing any stones. Okay, that's fine. I ain't throwing stones on that one.
Tried to see if the Houston Rockets couldn't make one in 27. We'll see if Judd can. It did not go well.
No, it did not.
What did you guys? This floated out yesterday here. Some people wanted our opinion on the Shams report. So Damian Lillard goes back to the Blazers. He goes back home. He signs. It winds up being a 3-year, $42 million deal. So it's more than you would get for a veteran's minimum, but way less than. It's even less than. It's basically the mid-level exception, because the mid-level is like $14 million a year. So it's essentially a mid-level exception. Now he'll be pretty much sidelined the entire year with the Achilles. So really, it's kicking in for age 36 season for 2 years. He'll finish out in Portland. But Shams reported 2 other teams showed interest in Dame Lillard, the Celtics and the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves would have had to get creative financially there because they didn't have the full non-taxpayer mid-level, which is $14 million. They have the taxpayer mid-level, which is like $5.5 million. So I don't know that money was the driving factor here, because Dame is still getting he's got multiple years of a max contract that he's still going to get checks from the Bucks. But your thoughts on the Wolves reaching out, just kicking the tires on Dame?
It again shows Tim Connelly as a serial tire kicker on big names. Like that's who he is. That's why I can't dismiss something like Deck said, and we talked about with Dukes. Like, are the odds good that Tim Connelly's going to make a huge splash move now? No. But I can't dismiss it. Like, you always find out, he's sniffing around. Yeah. Like, everything that comes down the pike, especially the big names, he's like a rich dude who's got the ability to go to auctions, and he just bids on stuff. He doesn't always get it, and he's fine with that.
Just sits there quietly, holds up his little
like placard.
That loud. I mean, who was the dude in Storage Wars that would yell "Yep"? Like, he's just buying ridiculous storage units. There might be some negative ones in there, but he's gonna find like gold or something in one random box ready to roll.
Lurking.
He kicks tires, man. And bravo, good for you. That's your job. But he does not hesitate, for as quietly as he works, and we don't know some stuff, he does not hesitate to put his nose into like a lot of things that I think a lot of teams don't bother.
And then Dan Kraft chimes in here. I don't understand the Tim Connelly haters. The dude is easily a top 5 pobo in the NBA. I would salivate just as much if Pat Riley or the OKC guy were doing the same things. Are the haters all young and didn't live through the dark ages of Timberwolves basketball? Have they simply forgotten how pathetic and embarrassing the Wolves organization was for decades? It's amazing to witness how well they're currently run, especially for the Wolves, Minnesota men's sports in general. Beringer already looks like the steal of the draft. Yeah, it is. I think the Connelly stuff, it popped up a little around in terms of the negativity or what's this guy doing, the Durant offer. And there was another report from Windhorst this week, I think on his podcast, or he went on some podcast and confirmed what we had already kind of heard through a couple different sources, but that it was Gobert, DiVincenzo, TJ Shannon, and the 17th pick on the table. All of those things apparently on the table for Durant. And so I think people took the Durant, and that, hey, if Durant would have wanted to play here, then that trade would have gone through, and a lot of people would have crucified Tim Connelly, just like for the Gobert trade and for the Karl Anthony Towns trade. But I feel like he just deserves the benefit of the doubt at this point until one of these big moves goes completely awry, or until it's official that one of these high first-round draft picks becomes a bust. But to this point, it looks like he hit on TJ Shannon. There's some good things brewing with Rob Dillingham. The early returns in Summer League on Beringer are like, whoa, this dude, at minimum, this dude's just going to be a defensive force and a shot blocker and a rebounder, and then whatever he can add offensively. So, yeah, it's possible that there's just some younger fans who didn't live through Kevin McHale botching the Kevin Garnett era, or David Kahn whiffing on unprecedented amounts of high first-round draft picks.
So what would I of course would not fire him, as some people want during the season, but I understand at times the criticism of like Finch, and he's a coach, so he's doing things every game, so it's easy to document and criticize. I guess I don't even understand the criticism of Conley. Like, okay, if he makes the Durant trade, we'll talk about that, but the Gobert trade worked, and it worked, and I will continue to hammer this home. The Gobert trade was made, yes, with the intention of trying to win a title, but it was also made as a complete culture changer for a team that hadn't done squat, and now has been to back-to-back Western Conference finals. Like, you don't... This is sort of goes back, in my opinion, to the Dillingham discussion, which is teams like the Timberwolves don't get out of the cesspool and just automatically then go win a championship. It takes, you're like trying to get out. You are as far down as you can get, right? And so like you're trying to get back to the playoffs, but you're also trying to get some stability, i.e. the Jimmy Butler year. Zero stability. You made the playoffs, but you had nothing as far as stability goes, and it sort of fell apart again. So like Conley was trying to establish a foundation. Like the Timberwolves had been around for a very long time and had no building, no foundation. Like there was no ground floor. Or if there was, it was mud, and you were sinking. You were always sinking. So, yeah, the Connelly criticism to me, and I mean, again, I feel like this show, and we criticize a lot where it's warranted, but the questioning Connelly to me is really a huge stretch.
Yeah. It still blows my mind, and we've talked about it before, but like I remember vividly in my probably more early teenage years of going to Byerly's, and if you bought a stick of butter, you get a 4-pack of Timberwolves tickets. Like they were begging people to go to the game. I remember vividly, like I was like, is this an actual, having very little knowledge at the time of sports marketing, being like, you're telling me all I got to do is buy some Land O'Lakes butter, and I'm going to walk up to that checkout lady, and she's going to give me 4 lower level tickets to the Timberwolves versus the Bobcats. Like, oh my God.
That might have been courtside, actually.
It might have been. Like, it's crazy. But going to games now, like in the last 4 years, and really the last like 2 or 3 years, it's incredible seeing the vibe there. And a lot of fans, and I know some younger fans maybe don't have zero memory of the KG era and into the early depths of those also awful teams by that only winning like 15, 16 games a year. But they were patient, and they have also they've been granted this great team, and they're showing up for it, which is awesome, because this state deserves a good basketball team.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on this, Connelly, because I think a lot of it is like the Durant stuff did trigger people, and I think it's the first time that if that move would have gone through, first guess I was all in on the Gobert trade. Awesome, like there's other ways to get first round picks. You keep your first round pick every other year. It's people overreacted to the quote unquote haul that they gave up, but they automatically vaulted themselves into the playoffs regularly, Western Conference Finals. The Cat trade had to happen for so many reasons. There's basketball reasons why it made sense, but then to see that in this world of aprons, first apron, second apron, that handicaps your ability to build a team and make moves and trades, that he swapped out a $50 to $60 million chunk and now can fit Julius Randle and DiVincenzo and just like other players, Naz Reid extension, all under this umbrella for the price of Karl Anthony Towns. He's been a year or two ahead of like the punitive structure that the CBA has created, and him getting Anthony Edwards, a team that can go to the Western Conference Finals and playing all of these high-level, intense playoff basketball games. He's just done an awesome job. And obviously, until they win a championship, none of it gets fully validated. But I also agree that he's probably one of the top 5 or 6 Pobos in the entire league. And I'm guessing his new contract that he's going to, if he hasn't signed it already, because he can opt out and get a new contract here, it's probably going to reflect itself in the amount of money that's in that contract too. Probably going to get a nice little pay bump, Tim Connelly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Judd, are you inviting us over for the 4:30 tip-off tomorrow? Rockets and Timberwolves. Little watch party?
Oh, God, I'd love to. I think I've got stuff, though.
Okay.
Actually, tomorrow might be a good day with a dearth of some sports to go play bingo. Dawn and I got a place a little bit. Every once in a while, she goes more than I do.
You guys play bingo?
Yeah, Saturdays bingo.
At an undisclosed location, or were you going to tell us where
undisclosed location. It is a VFW right by Breck High School.
Yeah.
Little bar.
All right. I love me a
bar.
VFW.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yep.
Have you told us about your
I don't know.
your bingo playing?
I don't do it a lot, but like once in a while, because Dawn will go probably, I don't know, 5 times a year. I'll probably go like 3 times a year. But
Wow.
It's a time commitment. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a time
How long does it
commitment.
take from like start of bingo to?
It
Do
takes
you have to play the whole thing?
Well, if you go, you play it because you're like, it's bingo. You're subject to it. I mean, you can get up and leave, I guess, if you wanted. But like, it's probably 2 hours, but it's all these different types. Like, I'm an old school. I want the normal bingo, but they've got like 4 corners bingo,
cover all.
Coverall,
Yeah.
And then some weird ones where it's like a couple here and a couple there in the corner, and then I don't even understand it. It gets very confusing, and you're drinking, so it's more confusing. I'd prefer to go back to traditional,
Yeah,
but
just
the
kinda
kids
with
today
Judd.
don't want that.
Yeah, I'm with Judd on this. The 1029 bar in Northeast. I think Saturdays. I think it's on Saturdays
Sure,
that
bingo.
they do bingo. And yeah, there's some games where I'm just like, can we just get a straight horizontal vertical bingo?
it's not stimulating enough apparently
It's correct.
for us millennials and the Gen
It's the
Zers.
swing off. It's the swing off. It's the
Wouldn't
bingo
needs to
swing
be
off.
more exciting. It's
Yes.
playing baseball isn't good enough for you. We
We
do a
need to
home
start
run
with a guy
derby.
on second base in the 10th
Yeah.
of bingo too, and that's what these like cover this but don't cover that and stuff. And Dawn's constantly correcting me because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just trying to mark things off.
Give me another beer.
Oh yeah.
Take 2 more. Take 2
more.
more over here.
Yeah,
That's
come
right.
on.
Hold on.
She's
Got
got the
my
things up.
Z-Biotics, and then I'll
Yep.
get into a
First
beer.
drink of the day.
That'd be great.
First drink of the
So,
day.
well, we'll recap Judd's bingo performance and anything else Wolves related on Flagrant Howls next week. Your favorite Timberwolves and bingo lifestyle podcast.